Hello there, my crafty friends. It is Candy here from SweetStamper.com with your weekly Teach Me Tuesday. So every week I come here to you on Tuesdays with some kind of a teaching. We're actually going to be working on a technique today, as well as showing you how to use a particular die and the adhesive sheets with it. Hey Kim, I'm glad you're joining me here today. So yeah, Teach Me Tuesday happens every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Central Time. We have turned our clocks back here in the US, we spring forward. We've turned our clocks forward, and I'm glad you're joining me from Michigan, Kim. We are having an absolutely Chamber of Commerce kind of day here in San Antonio. We had quite a little bit of a storm last night. I slept through it, thankfully, but we're having a beautiful, beautiful sunny spring day today. You know, we had these crazy snows just a few weeks back now, but everything is just budding. I mean, the climbing roses are budding, and a lot of things are blooming. Well, not blooming, but the buds are beginning to come out. And hi Judy and Jeanette. Although my dogwood tree in the back is just full of blooms. It's absolutely gorgeous. We have a loquat tree in the front. I don't think we're going to be getting any loquats this year because I think the fruit all got frozen during that really, really strong snow that we had. Just unprecedented, definitely historic. So that is my weather from San Antonio. Hi, Kay and Linda. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. You know, our youngest son and his family live in the UK. Hey, Laura. They live in the north of England. They're actually trying to come over here in June for my daughter-in-law's sister's wedding. Yeah, we're going to see how that goes. They've just bought their tickets, and there's, lockdown stuff going on in England. So I don't know. We're hoping that we're going to get to finally meet this grandbaby. And, the COVID stuff has made international travel really, really challenging. Hey, Barb, I'm so glad you're here. And when you have family that lives in another country, I can tell you that it's really, it's a little bit rough. So anyway, we're doing FaceTime with them this week. But all of that tangent went because we realized after we booked the FaceTime that they haven't changed their clocks yet, and we have. So, okay, well, let's go ahead and bring camera down. I'm going to show you just a couple of things, and then hey Jackie, and then we are going to do some fun stamping today. I can tell you that I need some fun stamping today. Lots of people in my world that are going through really, really rough times. So I needed some fun stamping today. Hey Marlene, welcome, welcome. Okay, here we go. Down, camera's coming down, and hopefully we have a good view. Let me just look at the, I think that's pretty good. Okay, so far so good. So I wanted to quickly go over this class. This is a limited edition class. We had something during Celebration, which was January, February, where you could get this stamp set for free when you placed a $100 order. Well, I ended up placing orders for my classes and things where I was able to collect some of these stamp sets. So I do have a limited edition class because I have a limited number of stamp sets. Beautiful, beautiful double stamp set. So you get a whole sleeve of the outline stamps and then a whole sleeve of the kind of fill-in stamps, and then 6 beautiful greetings. So I have designed a class, and I did something, I had fun with this. So that's all I can say is I had a good time, which I'm hoping translates to you having a good time. So what I've done is, hey Susie, I'm glad you're here, and Kathy, welcome, welcome. So I put together initially 6 cards, and then I thought, well, you know what? I'm going to make this, let's just do a double set of cards. Well, I did these with Stampin' Blends. And which meant I was using the outline images from the stamp set. And I wanted to go with just a really soft color palette and really fun stamping. So when you get this, all of these dies are done for you. I used a number of different embossing folders so that you get the chance to experience different ones. And then I think that helps you to decide if those are embossing folders that you might like to add to your collection. So I think I used 4 different ones now. Marlene, I'm glad. This is a gorgeous set. It really is. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Well, I decided since I was going to put in a second set of prepped supplies, well, why don't I just show you how to do the same cards, but using the fill-in image and the stamp pad. So it's a little bit of a different look, exactly same cards. You get a kind of a watercolor wash look as opposed to the more defined look that you get with the blends. So you do get the 12 cards and envelopes all prepped and ready to go. The stamp set, you're going to use this ribbon and twine I'm actually using on my card today as well. It's this really soft, drapey, very vanilla ribbon and this gold braided trim. You're going to love it. And then these gold glittered enamel dots. I use them a lot. Hey, Valerie, I'm glad you're joining us from Canada, from British Columbia. Hey, Mary, I'm glad you're joining us. So anyway, you can get the entire thing, the whole kit and caboodle. It's $58. It comes with the stamp set. There is an option if you already have the stamp set to get just the supplies and everything, and it's $45. That does include shipping. Now, and this is, you also get a Wink of Stella because you're going to use Wink of Stella on all of these focal images. And I do have a thing where these are the 3 sets of blends that I used. If you want to add these to your kit, you can, to your class by mail. So that's just an option I oftentimes add and give you a little price break in the process class. So let me pop these in here so I don't lose them. And all of that is in one bag so that it stays easy to find. Okay, so that is my newest class. It's available through the end of this month or or until it sells out, whichever comes first. So we shall see. Okay, so this is where we were last week on Thursday. And on Thursday, I come to you for my second weekly Facebook Live, and that is what I call simple and stepped up stamping. So we start with something really simple and then we step it up. So we were using this Timeless Tulips beautiful spring stamp set, and we made this little sympathy card. I've actually already filled this out. This is going to be going into the mail today, and which kind of brings me to what we're doing here today. And that is, I'm kind of going the sympathy route because I'm telling you, I just have so many people in my life that have a loved one that is like imminently facing death. I have a friend that just passed away earlier this week. I have I have a friend whose son is battling cancer. He's in his last days. He's only 17. Even the dog down the street has cancer. It just seems like I just have so many people in my life that are suffering right now. And so that's kind of the direction I'm going with my stamping. Not that we're going to be suffering with our stamping, but our suffering really can help lift us in a huge way. So I started going down this road with this sympathy card. And I really, really love the dies from the not potted succulents. Simply Succulents is the name of the stamp set, but it is actually, it's a bundle. It's in the spring catalog, and I actually have designed a whole class around it. And this is my cards with a twist for April. So let me just show you some other things that you can do with this die. I think it's really a beautiful set of dies. Oh, so Diane, you had storms too. Okay, and Terry Lynn, I'm glad you are here. So I'm just kind of messing with my computer over here because it bumped me off again. So you see these dies. This die right here is just the bomb, and I really, really love it. I'm going to be working with this today and showing you some tips and tricks for it. So this is part of the class that I have just designed, and this one uses the beautiful bijou paper that's now sold out. So this is going to be end up being a limited edition class as well. So here's what I'm wanting to concentrate on today is this die here. So you can see how it looks here with, this is the champagne foil sheet. And here I actually cut out a piece of designer paper. This is that beautiful fine art floral paper. So you see how you get all these different colors in it. And on this one, I laid it on top of a piece of Mossy Meadow, solid cardstock. Both of these I laid on top of a piece of designer series paper. So I used a foil sheet and then laid it on the designer paper. So you get just different looks. And I think that this, obviously this very shiny, you make the ordinary extraordinary, is just a fun card to send for a whole host of occasions. But I felt like that this kind of going with the kind of watercolor look and soft colors combined with a deep color would definitely work with sympathy. So I did pull out, I think that this Simply Succulents coordinates really, really nicely with Vine Design. I have done a ton with Vine Design. I used Vine Design for my my cards with a twist class, I believe for February. But I think these go really nicely together. And one of the reasons is because the dies are somewhat similar in the sense that they both have, both sets of dies. Oh, did I bring the Vine Designs? I didn't bring them over here. I thought I did. They have this really intricate, all these really intricate dies. So one of the things I do like about this potted succulents, is I think the name of the dies, is that you get these really nice labels. And so that's what I'm going to be using today, as well as this background one. And then of course you have a plant pot and, you know, some flowers and stuff with your succulents to use. So let's see how we can go in a direction to create something that is going to be bright and hopeful. That is where I need to be today. I need to be bright and hopeful. So what I have here, hopefully I got the right piece of paper. Yeah, I think I did. Yeah, this is, you have to sometimes get it in just the right light. This is called, this is called Shimmery White Cardstock. Now, Shimmery White Cardstock, let me just show you. Here's Very Vanilla. There's Shimmery White. And do I have a piece of white? Here's white right here. You can see the difference. So the Shimmery White is more like what I would call an eggshell. Hey, Geraldine, I'm glad you're joining us. So the Shimmery White you can actually pair with either Very Vanilla or with Basic White. So, but it has just a little bit of shimmer shine to it. It's also a little bit thicker and has the quality to it that it holds ink really, really well. I was going to maybe try to find it in the catalog for you real quick, but that may end up taking me longer than it should. So I will post that for you later. Let's move on. And what we're going to do is we're going to use these little guys. One of the reasons I'm using these is, first of all, they're fun to use. They're really quick. And I know that right now the blending brushes are all the rage, but the blending on back order, you can't even order them at all. So let me just talk for just a moment while I'm getting this set up about back order issues right now. Stampin' Up, we've had back order issues, you know, for a number of years because things sell sometimes more than we expect them to. But right now, it's more than ever. And I'll tell you why. It's because of COVID. And so COVID continues to affect our world in a whole host of ways. And the way it's affecting us with regard to back orders is even when we can get the manufacturing done in a timely manner, there's a lot of issues at the docks. And so when it comes to shipping stuff, there's just a lot of issues right now. So all that being said, we have to exercise more patience than normal. So what I'm going to do is I want to go with some kind of a like sunrise type of a vibe here. So I'm going to go starting with Daffodil Delight. These are our foam, what are they called? Not foam brushes. They're called foam rollers, something like that. I will look it up for you. And I think you get 2 for $8 if I recall. So really, really affordable. They have these little, they're just like little paint rollers. So you can pull this off and wash it and then pop it back on. Like most other sponges, they will stain, but the staining does not affect the ability to change colors out once you've washed it. So the biggest thing you want to do when you're using these foam rollers is you want to make sure that you don't do this with your stamp pad. You want to go this way. If you've ever done any painting with a roller, it's the same concept. If you go back and forth like this, you will not get an even distribution of ink, or if you're doing a room painting. Rococo Rose cardstock, I believe, Jeanette, I believe that Rococo Rose will come back. They're going to fill the present back orders, and I believe it's going to come back briefly. They'll get like 1 lot in, and then, yeah, then it's going to be gone. So, oh, thank you, Betty. I'm glad you like my sweater. I'm telling you, I am a yellow person, and I needed some yellow today, so that's kind of where I'm going. I needed some brightness and some yellow, so that's kind of where my world needs to be right now, because like I said, there's just a lot of people in my life that are enduring a lot of suffering right now. So I'm like, okay, let's get some brightness, let's get some sunshine going, let's get some hope going in what we are going to be stamping today. Now what I'm doing is I'm just putting a little kind of a wash over this whole piece of cardstock. And I'm not worried too much about how evenly distributed my ink is. And one of the reasons is because I'm going to cover it up largely. I'm also going to be layering more ink on here. So again, this is Daffodil Delight, and it is a very clear yellow. And I just wanted to make sure that there is some in the entire piece of cardstock. And I'm just going back and forth and back and forth. Okay, I've got pretty much a good display of yellow here. So now I am going to put this aside. And like I said, you can rinse this out, but you do get 2 sponges. And like I said, I believe they're $8. So they're in our annual catalog. Now I'm going to go with Flirty Flamingo, which is also in the Brights collection. And this we are going to add, let's see, this to me, I've got more dark down here and more light here. So I think what I'm going to do is ink this up, and we are going to start down here at the darker side, and we're going to add a little bit of Flirty Flamingo. It is pretty, but it's Flirty Flamingo. And you see how you get that kind of coral look? It reminds me of those roses that have that beautiful, beautiful, how they go from yellow to peach to coral, and they're really, really lovely. So you see how the more of this Flirty Flamingo I add, the more of a sunrise kind of a look that I get. So I'm not going to go all the way down here because I want some of this to remain purely yellow. And I'm just going to add a little bit more down here to get a deeper look. You want it? I think that's looking pretty good. Then I am going to close this up and put these brushes where they're not going to bump into anything, because you don't want to be transferring ink in places where you don't intend. And I'm also, just to be on the safe side, I don't think I got any of this on my hands, but just to be on the safe side, I'm going to take a little alcohol prep pad and just kind of touch my fingertips with this to make sure that I don't have any ink to transfer to what I'm working on. Okay, very good. And I'm going to put this aside as well, because again, I just don't want to transfer any ink anywhere. I'm going to put my little sunrise over here until I'm ready to work with it some more. Okay, so what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take a piece of, this is the pearlized, I think it's called pearlescent paper. This is an item that is in our spring catalog. And I'm going to take this and I'm going to, it is pearly, and I'm going to punch that out with that die. Now, in order to do that, I am going to, first of all, take a piece of this adhesive sheet. Now, this is exactly the way it comes. So it comes in these 12 by 6 pieces. And this allows you to create a sticker. And this is super, super sticky. Thank you, Marlene. Marlene's telling us that these guys, they are $8 and they're on page 147 of the catalog. So I appreciate my team members going to bat for me here and letting us know exactly what things are in the catalog. Gosh, you know, this Facebook thing on my computer, it just keeps knocking me out. Ay, ay, ay. And then I can't see what people are doing, so give me just a moment. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I want to cover this piece of cardstock, this pearlescent, I think it's pearlescent. No, it's pearly. So I'm going to cut this at, I think, a little beyond 4. Yep, so that it will cover that. Now, when you look at the back side of this, there are 3 little runners there, and that shows you where you can take it apart. So what I need to do is the pearlescent paper is the same on both sides, so you don't need to worry about what's the front and what's the back. All I'm gonna do is take this, and I mean it is super, super sticky, and I'm gonna put it on the back, and it will stick to your fingers, and you're gonna have to just rub the excess off. And it does add a little bit of thickness to the paper you're working with. So you have to bear that in mind when you're running it through your Big Boss. Now, I have not done this, but I believe you should also be able to work with this with a punch, so that if you wanted to punch something out with this, you could have the same effect. So what's gonna happen is once I've run this through my Big Boss, then I can just peel that off and it will stick without having to use any glue. So it ends up being a dry adhesive way to adhere my cardstock. So let's see, Big Boss is right here. Let's see if I can do this on camera without being too clumsy. Let's see. So let's open Big Boss like so, not too loud a snap. And then I'm going to get my platform here, and I've got, there's my number 1. Let me turn this around so you can see the numbers. So there's my number 1, and there's my number 2. That's what I need as well. And then I'm gonna put my cardstock. Now, I need to put number 3 down first. There we go. Now, I want my cardstock to be sticker down because I want this to go into the cardstock, not into the sticker, or I would have a right mess on my hands. Okay, so that is going to go like so. Well, you kind of center it. I've left myself a little bit of a gap, which I do recommend when you use this Simply Succulents die. I do recommend that you leave a little bit of a gap all the way around it. And now this is going to run through my Big Boss. It helps if you get it straight. And what I love about this is it is so smooth, and it really, this is shifting on me. You do want to have something underneath it that's skid proof, you know, that's not going to have it rocking all over. Now, one of the things I find with these super intricate dies is you oftentimes need that second run through your Big Boss. Now, what I like to do is turn this over and just make sure that everything has really, really come through, and I can already see that it's really, really cut all the way. And that's what you want. You don't want it to be partially cut in places, because then you're going to have a little bit of a bath on your hands. Push that over here for now. I am going to use it again in a minute, but we'll get to that. So when you order your dye brush, this is a little attachment for your pick a tool, and it comes with one of these little foam mats, and I like to just pop it into a stamp case. And then when I brush and get all of the negatives off of my image, then they're very contained, because I don't want all those little pieces flying on my desk, because then it's just kind of a, you know, it's just a little, anytime you can kind of tame all the mess, it helps you. So this, now I can very quickly and easily sweep into my rubbish bin like so. And that is much more contained than it would be otherwise. Okay, now this, I'm trying to remember what size this was, and I don't think I brought my ruler over here. I gave myself a little bit of extra space here. So what I'm going to do now is take this piece of pearlized paper that has been die cut, and look at how pretty. Look at how pretty that is. Doesn't that look like a sunrise? So I've got all of this pretty sunrise, and depending on how far I put this down, well, yeah, it's going to kind of just, I didn't give myself too terribly much space, but it's enough to attach to my little piece. Now, this is the fun part. When you go to attach this, because I have this adhesive sheet on here, all I have to do is peel this, and this becomes one giant sticker. Voila. Now, you remember there were 3 little pieces on here, so yes, I do have 3 little pieces to pull, but look how nicely they pull off. And then all of that is sticky. That entire panel is sticky, and that is ready to go onto my piece of my little sunrise. So let's go like so. And I have purposely made this a little bit larger than I need it to be, because I wanted to trim it down a bit. Isn't that lovely? I think it's just exquisite. Now, let me show you something, that when you go to use this die, it is a little bit off. Not off, but this is right at 4, and it's right at 4, but this is not at 5 1/4 the way you would expect it to be. This is like 5 3/8. So that's what I mean by it's not off, but it's really close to the end of a card front. So you see how you've got a little, I mean, it's really a tight fit. So you don't have any extra give on that. Having said that, if you then, what I find is easier is if you come back and trim just inside the frame. You can trim it to where you use the frame, but I like to trim it just inside the frame. So let's see how that looks. If we go right along here and trim, I'm going to use my heavier blade, which is the darker one, and that means it's going to cut through that cardstock for me. So now you see how I've taken that off. But I find it's easier to do it this way than to try to get that before you run it through your Big Boss. I just am telling you the tips that for me work, and that is that if you can give yourself the ability to come back and take that little edge off, I think that it's a lot easier to work with than trying to, because these little edges are so fine and they'll end up hanging you up a little bit, which is not what you're wanting. So this we have created with our foam rollers, sponge rollers, I think is what they're called. Marlene, since you found them in the catalog for me, you want to verify what they're called? I think it's foam rollers. So we made a little sunrise with our foam rollers, really pretty background. And then, and it's very custom, I mean, it's just something that you create yourself. Catalog's getting ready to come off the desk here. And then we're going to put this beautiful, beautiful die on top. And we're using the pearlized paper for that to give it a really soft and yet what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of a luxurious look, but in a subtle way. So luxurious, but not blingy, I guess is the word I'm looking for. So that is all prepped and ready to go. Brayers, thank you. I knew there was a word for that, Marlene. Thank you, thank you. So they are sponge brayers. Now I have this beautiful sunrise piece. Let me get some paper underneath me again. And I have a couple of options now. I want to put that on a card front, and I've got several directions to go. Now this is Daffodil Delight. So I could go with Daffodil Delight. It's very pretty. It's very pretty. Or, wait, there's more. Look what happens, even though I didn't use Mango Melody, look what happens when you put it on Mango Melody. That is Flirty Flamingo and Daffodil Delight, but look how pretty. 4 sponges and 2 handles. Thank you, Marlene. $8. I mean, I think that's an incredible deal. So you get 2 handles and 4 sponges. Amazing. Only $8. And you can rinse them and reuse them. So there it is on, and I had done one of these ahead. So you tell me if you like it better on the Mango Melody or on the Daffodil Delight, or let's just see if we want to go in a totally different direction. Let's see what happens if we put it on kind of a, if we put it on maybe like a brighter version of Sky. Let's see what happens if we put it on Coastal Cabana. Va va voom. That really changes things up. I think you can't see it on that. Okay, there we go. That is going to give you a little truer look. Okay, Mango Melody. Ooh, everybody, I just now looked at comments. Everybody's voting for Mango Melody. Okay. Do we like Coastal Cabana for the second one, or do we like, we'll do one here, and we'll do one here. Now, I'm going to go with this very vanilla ribbon, because you see how this is that pearl paper, and it's not quite white, and it's not quite vanilla. It's more of an eggshell color. And so this is going to be really good for me. So this is that really soft, drapey vanilla. Changed your mind. Okay, so I'm going to do one of each. So I think one of them I'm definitely going to go with mango, because this was really a popular vote. So now our second one, are we going to go with the daffodil, or are we going to go with Coastal Cabana? I'm thinking we might want to go this way, because then we would have 2 really different looks. 2 really, really different looks. And then, although there are some beautiful sentiments that are a part of Simply Succulents, so let's just look. You make the ordinary extraordinary. You've been on my mind. Definitely think of that one right now, just because of the people that are walking through a lot of suffering right now in my world. Thanks, kind people are my kind of people. What I decided was I'm needing a lift. And hey, Kathy, I'm glad you're here. Coastal Cabana for the second base. Okay, this is where I'm going. Because, you know, when I first looked, I was thinking, you know what? This would be a good Easter card because of the whole sunrise aspect. And so I'm wanting to kind of have that Easter vibe, or maybe what I'm really thinking of is just resurrection. And so I'm going to come in. I originally thought I might do the cross. But I will say this is a really, there's a lot of detail on the cross, and there's so much detail on my background. I thought it might be a little bit much. So I'm gonna go with His Love Never Fails. And then I can make that into an Easter card. I can make it into a sympathy card. I can go into a lot of different directions with it. So what I'm going to do is I am going to stamp this a couple of times because I'm not totally sure the direction I want to go with it. And let's see. Let's do it a couple of times. Coastal Cabana for the second card base. I'm just looking to see if anybody else weighs in. I am going to go with Early Espresso for my stamping because I need this to be a good, strong, where'd my block go? Come on. I know I loaded one in here. Where'd it go? I know that I want a strong color, but I didn't want black. You know, one of the things I like to do on sympathy cards is to do Early Espresso. It's really dark, but it's not quite black. So I think it's a really good fit for a sympathy card. And you know, when I made a sympathy card last Thursday, and then I discovered somebody I knew I got in touch with had just lost her mother, and I was like, well, this is perfect. So this sentiment right here would also work here. But I really, I kind of was going in the direction of the cross and the resurrection, and then I went with this. So let's see. Actually, I think I probably need to go in this direction to make sure my little die is going to cut the whole thing out. So let's see if we can go like this. There we go. Now let me just check my computer to make sure we're still moving. Yep. Okay. So that, I don't need any more Early Espresso. So you can kind of see where we're going here. Now I'm going to pull back in. I'm going to pull the dies. I need to put this die away. And I am going to go with this little guy right here. And look at that pretty little stitch line it has around it. Almost like a, yeah, I guess it is stitching. Almost looks like beading, but I think it's stitching. So let me get rid of this. Did I bring, yep. Let's go ahead and close this up while we are here. And, oh, Skeeter, I'm glad you're gonna watch the replay. You will see us working on this sunrise technique and then doing an overlay with these really intricate dies from the Simply Succulents bundle. Okay, so let's see if this, okay, I was afraid that I had gone in the wrong direction for that, but it's working. Okay, let's get Big Boss out again, and let's punch these little words out and finish up this card. We're actually doing really well on time. So let's see if I can figure out where I put my plates and everything. Here we go. There's the platform. There's 1, 2, 3. Perfect. Ready to go. This is going to go like so. I think that is centered. Okay. And then that is going to go right like so. And let's just crank it through. Hope you guys are enjoying your Big Boss machines if you have ventured out that way. So some of you may not have ever had a die cutting machine. If that is the case, I highly recommend it's called Stamp and Cut and Emboss. That's just a lot for me to say, so I've called it Big Boss. The machine we carried for many years was called the Big Shot, so we were kind of used to saying that already. And so I'm calling my machine Big Boss. And if you still have a Big Shot or other type of die cutting machine, my recommendation is use it until it dies, because they will eventually die. You know, these are machines. This is still Earth. We are not in heaven yet. Things don't last forever down here. And, but I still have I have a Big Shot that I carry around to my weekend retreats, and I think it's about 9 years in and still going. So even though, you know, when you purchase one of our die cutting machines, they have a lot of years on them, so they will be real workhorses for you. Now, let's put Big Boss down here and see where we're going to get on with this. So let me put my die away so that I don't lose it. That is something that can happen, and you don't want that to happen. So let me ask you this. Is that enough, or do we want to put a little backing around that? I could put a little layer of that behind there and make it really, really strong. That might be a little too strong. I could also do a little bit of, this is, yeah, that definitely doesn't work there. This is gray granite. I don't think that works. So here's, this is one I was playing around with. So just so you get an idea, it's definitely would need to be redone because it's got ink on it and everything else. But that's kind of what it looks like if you add a layer behind it. I don't know that it actually needs it. So I'll kind of wait and see if anybody has an opinion. And while you're doing that, I'm going to go ahead and put this down. And I'm going to do that by, let's see, I think that we want the, I think we want the light color down at the bottom and the dark color at the top. Now I could even go this way, but I think I really was thinking of a sunrise, so I think I'm going to go in this direction. And I could go just right smack in the center, or I could go down in the corner, which is usually where I kind of go. Several different ways we could do this. I think I'm kind of liking that. So let's kind of go, if we do like that, I think that's going to be a good look. So we'll go about a third of the way down near the bottom. And I'm just using my seal adhesive. Old habits die hard. Snail is the adhesive we used for many, many years. And then as many things, you know, we've made a little improvement. No layer. Okay, Kim, I think you're right. I think it doesn't need it. I think it makes it too heavy. So there is our sunrise piece. And I'm just going to make sure my adhesive is pressed in, and I'm going to pop that up on a dimensionals. And then, I don't know if we want to do this or not, this comes with this gold, and it's really delicate. It's braided together, and so we could do this and kind of cinch it up. And I think that it just might work because it is delicate, and this whole card is just, it's soft, it's delicate, it's so very pretty. You do want to tie this into a knot first so that it doesn't come undone on you, and then we'll do a little bow, and let's just see what we think. Do we want to go with this little bit of gold, or do we just not need it? I think one thing is I like the way it cinches up the ribbon for us. I think that is kind of a nice look. So let's see, what do we think? And I'm actually going to use just some little of the mini dimensionals in the corners there so that it floats right over that ribbon and doesn't get hung in the ribbon. So I'll wait for anybody to have an opinion here on whether I should remove the gold and leave it straight. Maybe we'll do straight on, maybe we'll leave the layer, the gold on this one, and we'll do it just straight ribbon on the other one and have a slight difference in these. So this is where, you know, these mini dimensionals really come in handy. Took me a while to kind of adapt to them. I think largely because I had only used regular for a long time. And so, yeah, okay, so we're liking the gold. Yes, on the gold. It's just, it's just delicate. It's just a little bit. It's not blingy gold. It's just a little bit. So I'm thinking that this is exactly the vibe that I need to hear today. And I'm thinking I have a couple of people in my life that need to hear this too, that his love never fails. There's a lot of suffering in our world. And, I used to kind of almost facetiously say to my kids, this is not paradise. Well, it's not. This is earth. Life on earth can be a beautiful thing, but it's not paradise. This is not heaven. And there are people that, including us at various times in our life, that will walk through some sometimes really grievous suffering, some really great times of, not great, greatly distressing times of suffering. And a handmade card during that time can really lift someone. And I just thank God for this amazing craft that we have. I can tell you, when I came into my studio to get ready today, I'm definitely feeling a little bit of heavy-heartedness. And once I started working on this, I was like, yes, this is the direction I needed to go for me. And it's a direction that if this is lifting me up, I know that it's going to lift up someone else too. So this is the power of what we do with our handmade cards. We are able to convey our hearts. We're able to convey the love of God. We're able to convey hope and so much, not only with the words that we write on the inside, but the very design itself, the stamps, the ink, and the paper that we use are able to just lift up. They lift our hearts even as we work on this, and then they will also lift the hearts of someone that we send this to. So I know that when someone opens this, one of my loved ones or one of my friends opens this, that's going to be the message that they need even before they open to the inside and see some of the things that I'm going to say. So I'm already thinking of putting a Bible verse in there. And, sometimes when people are going through really rough times, you don't need to say a lot. They just need to know that you're there. And just knowing, hearing that truth, that the love of God, his love never fails. And so I know that this is going to reach someone and be just what they need, because it was just what I needed today. So we can share hope, share love, share kindness and care through what we do with our handmade cards. And this is what we do. It's what we do. We're able to not only wish people a happy birthday and celebrate the great things happening in their lives, new babies and graduations, but also these challenging times and even grief, that we can help ease their load and let them know that we're praying for them, that they're in our thoughts, that our heart is going out to them. So Kathy, you enjoyed making cards with a twist on the first day of spring. Oh, yay. They were. That was a good one, wasn't it? That was my aim, was that those would be very springy cards. That was my Inspiring Iris class. So the one I'm doing for April is actually the succulents, and that's kind of, I ended up doing these in the opposite direction. Oh well, it actually looks good either way. I meant to flip this around, but I like them both. So yeah, we all need I Care cards. Exactly, Jackie. And I had done a whole class with this stamp set, early part of the release of the current catalog that we have. I did a whole class around this, and this is a great stamp set. If you like to share your faith with your handmade cards, I highly recommend that you get his love. And even here, where I'm not using the images, I'm using just the words, but I think there's a lot of bang for your buck here. It's a $22 cling rubber stamp set. I mean, the cross you can use for so many, you can use it for, a sympathy card, you can use it for baptism, for confirmation, for just sharing your faith. Of course, we have a little wheat sheaf here and an open Bible here, the praying hands, beautiful classic Christian images, and then some great words. But hey, Cynthia, I'm glad you're joining us. So that was what I pulled in to my Simply Succulents. Although there are lovely words in the Simply Succulents, I needed to share the hope of Jesus with my cards today. So that is our little Teach Me Tuesday. We learned how to use the sponge Brayers, and you can do a lot of different colors with them. Today's cards, I did a sunrise color palette, and I was able to do that with 2 ink colors. We used Flirty Flamingo and Daffodil Delight, and then we just did a simple message here. But before we did that, we did an overlay of the pearlescent, I want to say, I used it in the class last month. I want to say it's pearlescent paper. There is a PDF for this set, Kim. I did do a PDF for that, so if you want to send me a private message, I will hook you up with that. I actually have a growing number of people wanting the PDFs for my classes, and I need to open up a page where you can just kind of go in and select those. I actually did this, I believe I did a cards with a twist class with this. So where it was 8 cards and 2 each of 4 designs with a little twist. And it's just the way I think, and even this is almost like a cards with a twist right here. I like to do a card and then do it a little bit different and get a lot of mileage that way. So I'm glad you like these, Betty. I know you do a lot of cards for your Sunday school class, and these are great cards for things like that. But I think I would give these to anybody who is facing a challenging time. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to love you and leave you. Be sure to share my video. It helps me so much, and I really appreciate those of you who have been sharing. It helps me with the Facebook algorithm, and I hope that you will consider the His Love stamp set and the Simply Succulents bundle. It is part of my April Cards with a Twist class, which I'm going to release. I think I can get that button out today. So let's see, what type of storage unit do you have your sponge Brayers in? You know, there's a lot of different things you could do. I have a bunch of these old, if you had the old wood mount stamp sets, these were called clamshell containers, and I have a bunch of them from when I first started stamping, and we had wood mount stamps, and I really like the cases for a whole host of things. So usually when I get ready to stamp, I'll put all of my stamps on clear blocks, and I'll put them in here so that they don't stick to my surface, because you know, particularly the photopolymer stamps, they're so sticky. If you lay them down on a work surface, they'll end up collecting little bits of dust and little bits of paper and stuff, and I don't want that to happen. So I'm using these really old. You can use also just our, well, we only have the thin ones now. So yeah, I think you would have to kind of maybe do a little bit of digging on Amazon or something to find something, find them if you don't have access to these. But if you've been stamping for a while, you'll have some of these old cases. And I had quite a few, and then I had a friend who was getting rid of all of her, or she was remounting her wood mount stamps onto clear, and she was getting rid of a bunch of these, and I went, oh, I think I could probably figure out something to do with those, and I've just ended up using the heck out of them. So great question, and so if you ever have questions, be sure to ask. I love to hear your questions and do my best to answer them, and usually if you have a question, somebody else has the same question. Okay, that's it. I will see you here Thursday for simple and stepped up stamping, and in the meantime, I hope you will consider some of my classes. They can be found at sweetstamper.com and also in my newsletter, which you will want to subscribe to if you're not already. Hey, Jill, I'm glad you liked the cards today. Thank you so much for tuning in. I have your mask is going in the mail right today, Jill. Thank you again. Take care, and God bless.